Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Safety Systems. When it comes to home and office security, nobody will take care of you better than VFL JJ Surlis and the team at Safety Systems. You want to get you want a security system for your home? I'll tell you what, go on YouTube and start watching some of these most disturbing home video security stuff that's out there. That'll get you to call JJ real quick. I've been watching those things and I'm like, I need to upgrade my security system. I need more cameras. SafetySystems.com can take care of your home or your business. All right, let's talk about resources, expectations. We had lunch this week, and you mentioned something to me that I thought was pretty good. It almost sounded like a coaching proverb, and I was like, where would a coach want to go? If we're looking at a food chain, kind of a list here, where would a coach be looking to go? And someone said something to you, and you kept it.
As a coach, you want to go to a place where the resources match the expectations. What recruiting budget, staff budget, facilities, NIL pool, fan expectation, administration expectation, who's in your league, who can you recruit, where those resources match the expectations of your administration and your fan base. And that's difficult to find, but, well, it's difficult to find on the top end. You can go to Vanderbilt. I have a good friend that's at Northwestern. Northwestern's 1-11. He's the happiest coach I saw at the national convention because their resources match their expectations. He's coaching good kids that want a quality degree.
And the fans
don't
expect
okay
national titles.
Every third or fourth year, they expect them to compete for the Big Ten West. So if that's what you want, great. If you want championships, that's rare air, and it's increasingly difficult to have a program that's sustainable at that level.
All right, so when we talk about Georgia, resources and expectations, we're looking at, and let's try and finances, as you went through the long list, but finances, facilities, which are kind of hand in hand, talent pool, kind of in-state, and then brand name, history. When you look at Georgia, and everybody said it's the best job in the country for a long, long time, it's got no one else really that can. There's one other big major school in the state, and Georgia Tech's not going to beat Georgia for many players unless they want to be engineers. The only other state I can think of like that, that's talent rich, they are the king in their own state, it's Ohio State. I think Ohio State and Ohio State and Georgia, to me, very similar in the way they look, because Cincinnati's not going to beat Ohio State to many. Akron's not going to go beat Ohio State. Who else, though? Do we all agree Georgia and Ohio State are kind of up there? I mean, clearly they're in the playoffs constantly. Who else is at that level?
LSU not far behind. I was going to say Louisiana not quite at the same level as Ohio and historically maybe, but Louisiana puts out a ton of top-level players and is similar in-state pull for LSU, very little in-state competition. They've got the money, obviously, so I think LSU is on that short list of programs that have similar resources.
I know Tulane had a great year, but typically LSU doesn't have much competition. I remember when Nick Saban went there in 2000, one reason was at that time Louisiana produced more pro players per capita than any state in the country. That's not true now, but it was then.
I cannot think of anybody else.
Bama.
Matter of fact,
Bama.
well, but does Bama have the in-state talent?
Well, but I think their brand
conquers exactly.
that.
I mean, Alabama's obviously right there, but when you're talking about the in-state talent and you got it basically to yourself, I mean, Alabama obviously, competes with Auburn. No, Alabama's up there. I mean, Alabama still may be at the top, even though Georgia's won 2 in a row. But I was just thinking that is a very good list of where you've got a state full of talent and you don't have anybody competing really with you for that.
Well, here's the problem with the expectations piece, though, because Alabama has the same record that Tennessee just had. We're backing a Brinks truck up to Josh Heupel. Nick Saban forgot how to coach. Alabama's done. They'll never be able to win again. So it's difficult. But to me, Alabama, I know Auburn's in that state, but Alabama, when they have it rolling like they've had the past couple decades, Georgia, Louisiana, even Texas and California are quote-unquote in-state recruiting for them.
I'm going to give you Florida.
See,
and I know there's competition.
I'm not going there, but okay. Yeah.
But look what Steve Spurrier did. Look what Urban Meyer did. They won national championships. I think Florida has all the resources necessary.
I've often thought that, but I think the more time goes on, the more we're seeing that Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer maybe the
all-time coaches.
Having all the resources necessary doesn't really get you into the rarefied air. Look at Texas. Nobody has more money than Texas. They're in a state where there's tons. Of course, they got people recruiting against them. But I just think if you look at those other schools, they've separated themselves from where Florida is. So
Florida, sorry, Bob. To the
Go ahead.
Florida piece, if you want to market yourself as a college coach, go recruit the state of Florida because you will literally see every school in the country in that state recruiting.
Plus, you've got Florida State and Miami as big boys
Correct.
competing with you.
Correct.
But I agree. It's clearly, they won 3 in 12 years, 13 years. But how much of that was too spectacular? They're on that. I don't know if they're 1 or layer 2.
Well, but if you're going to put Alabama there, then look at their spectacular coach.
That's
But they won with Gene Stallings. They won with Bear Bryant. Didn't Wallace Wade. I mean, before that.
Well,
so
I mean, wait a minute. I don't
they
know how
got
far
12
we're going
national
back. I'm not
titles.
going back that far. Wallace
no,
Wade.
that helps the
I'm talking
brand.
even Dennis Franchione
Yeah.
had a good year.
I mean, I just think that
How about
Alabama
Mike
has
Sheila?
proven over a much
How about
longer
Mike
time.
Dubose?
Yeah.
Clemson, you coached in the ACC. Do they go up to that level? I mean, you got South Carolina in there. That Clemson gets most of the kids they want versus Carolina, I would think. Maybe that's changed a little.
Clemson certainly has the resources with their facilities, with their NIL, with the location. Atlanta's very close. The Florida piece is close. Clemson has been the benefactor of playing in a bad Power 5 league. That's always been my argument with them. They've benefited from having Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence. They won national titles. When they haven't had them, they've been very good programs that could never win anything major.
All right, quickly, let's throw this. Give me yays and nays. Oklahoma. They got the brand, but I don't know if they've got the
Are we
talent.
talking top tier?
Top tier up there with Georgia and Ohio
Nay,
State and
nay.
LSU?
It's a nay
Nay.
for me.
No.
Okay. You had Florida. Do we put Florida State up there? Because they've got 3 titles just like Florida.
I do not.
Okay.
The only other one I would consider is USC.
I was going to say, is USC.
Yeah.
Is USC up there?
The location makes that one an interesting discussion.
That's
the
a
fan
yay for me.
support's not quite there, but they've got almost everything else.
And we don't put Texas in there because there's just too many.
No, I mean, not.
Texas and Florida are
Depends on how
Yeah,
far back
yeah.
you go.
But Florida's
no.
had
If you put
success
one in, you ought to
Texas.
put. Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people at Texas wrestling for who's in control of the resources, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Notre Dame.
No.
A lot of resources, but challenges too.
Yeah.
Am I missing anybody? Michigan.
Similar
quite.
to Notre Dame, a little bit better maybe.
You've got Tennessee right there with, I think, a few of those.
And that's what we'll talk about next. I tell you what, let's get into it. Let's take this closer to home. We're going to look in the SEC and we're going to rank, we're going to put teams in 4 different tiers. We're going to look at the food chain from the sharks to the plankton. Where is Tennessee? And we're going to throw Texas and Oklahoma into this because they'll be here by at least 2025, maybe if things break right, 2024. Let's talk about a 16-team SEC and break it down by tiers. Where's Tennessee on that food chain in terms of resources and expectations? Come on back.